I've been working with 19th century and historical photographic processes for 35 years now. Thinking about time and the document and the found object, thinking about drawing and photography and how they combine, thinking about painting, and absolutely, even more recently, thinking about sculpture. This is, in many ways, a sculptural practice with these particular materials, glass and metal and everything else. But there's always been a sculptural practice, which is in building props and in building small sets and things like that to be photographed. And it's a necessary part of my joy of working. And I think that's why I fell in love with working with 19th century process in the first place, was because it was all the other arts combined, but with all the weirdness and magic and thinking and messed upness of photography. I'm calling this work Dumb Skulls, and it came about as a way to get to sort of immediate, simple, and frankly kind of stupid sculpture, sitting around with paper clay, cheap materials, and making skulls. They're definitely related to being the parent of an almost 7-year-old who makes art every day, all day, with whatever's at hand. Feather-covered doors and popsicle stick people and drawings on every surface with every material. I feel so fortunate to have this space, as small as it is. The light is beautiful. It's really quiet, even in the middle of Brooklyn. And I can come down here and sit in the light and make something, and it's my time, out of time. I've been working with wet collodion, tin types and amber types for a few years now. And it all began in a concentration class I was teaching at Penland. It was a class called Photography in Reverse, and the whole idea was to do like every process, starting now, and work our way backwards through the entire history of photography, all the way to daguerreotypes and early experiments. Technically what I'm doing is called an amber type, where you're taking a black colored piece of glass and pouring this sticky wet collodion on it. While it's still wet, soak it in a bath of silver, and while that's still wet, you shoot it, develop it, fix it, all in one pretty quick process. My work has always been fundamentally absurd. I started working with 19th century printing processes in order to make things that looked like they could be found photographs from some alternate past and some other history. But to fake an old photograph is this completely absurd back and forth feedback loop of time that doesn't make any sense. And when I realized that, I felt pretty free to have some fun with it. There's a side of my work that is always ridiculous. And there's a side of the work that's very serious and more than a little bit melancholy. And I love it when those two things collide in some kind of perfect dance. I've talked about my work, but it is fundamentally private. There are layers and layers of secrets in the work, most of which no one will ever know. I think that's enough, right? That's good. Yeah.